Welcome to Scorched Earth. This is going to be a general reading, mid-month reading for the sign of Leo, Sun, Moon and Ascendant. If you don't know what your Moon and Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below, because there's a link down there that will help you. And then you should come back and watch your Moon and Rising signs, I would say, specifically, because it'll give you a better idea of what's going on with you generally. You know, your personal planets have a lot of effect on what's going on. And it's useful to know sometimes. It gives you a different perspective than just solely what's going on with your sun sign. So, first up, thank you so much. I woke up this morning in an absolutely beautiful mood. I'm so happy, and I don't know if it's just because the sun was shining or what. But Mercury has gone direct. Yay, we're still in the shadow period, but it's gone direct. Which made me very happy, and also seeing that I had sailed past 10,000 subscribers overnight had also added a whole layer of awesome to my day that I hadn't anticipated. So thank you to all those people who have subscribed, those people who have commented, shared, messaged me, booked personal readings, donated. It's all... I'm so grateful, I can't even tell you. Ugh, just getting shivers. How awesome everything is at the moment, and that's all down to you. You know, my driving motivator was to get on here to help people and to hopefully build a little community, and that really does seem to be what is occurring. So I'm very happy. Do a little dance. Happy. Do I have anything to say? Pisces season. Oh, what a clusterfuck that's been. I'm assuming if you're Leo and you're watching this, that you had suffered just as much as I have, and every Leo in my life has suffered. My son, who is staunchly anti-spiritual, just not interested in any way whatsoever, because he's very scientifically minded. Even he's been tilted as fuck, and he's more chilled out than I am generally. I told him it was Pisces season, he wasn't having any of it. But affected nonetheless, he was. And... yeah, there's just something about the energy. It's so ungrounded. It just makes me feel put out. Anyway, Aries season approaches, and my God, we're going to take off. I absolutely feel it. So everything's wonderful. So, yeah, I'm just going to stop waffling now, and I'm going to pull some cards to see where you are right now, right? What the energy of Leo is. So I have 3 cards for where Leo is right now. Ooh, I like it. 8 of Cups is the first card. And Temperance is the second card. That's the card of Sagittarius and the major arcana. Good. Sister energy to us. Love it. And could I please have one more? There we go. King of Swords. That's interesting. Right. So, bottom of the deck, Queen of Wands. Followed by the Sun. I love it. Absolutely love it. Followed by the Fool. Fuck, like, honestly, if I could sum up for you this morning how I felt when I got out of bed, before I'd spoken to anyone that had a morning cigarette, a cup of coffee, anything, it's these 3 cards. Right, just felt good. Underneath that, 10 of Cups. Love it. Anyway, where you are right now is in a really good place, I think, possibly. First card you've got is the 8 of Cups. I don't detect any sadness from this at all, right? I feel like Leos have been using Pisces season to deal with some uncomfortable feelings that have been coming up, right? The combination of Pisces and the retrograde together has allowed us to work on some feelings that hadn't quite been closed out entirely yet, you know, and there's a sense of walking away from those things which, having contemplated, we now understand do not emotionally fulfill us in any way, right? We put this time, this care, this effort into these things. We amassed all of these cups, and whilst we might have walked away physically from situations, which is something that Leos are very good at, we do tend to take the emotions of it with us. And I think that this period that we've been in, and certainly you might be sat in at the moment, is is acknowledging those things that you've taken with you that now it is possible for you to release, right? There's a full moon up here. If you haven't done it yet, then the incoming, full moon is possibly when that's going to happen. And it doesn't feel sad. And it doesn't even feel, there's no sense of resignation about this. It's a settled, peaceful feeling, right? You acknowledge it for what it is, acknowledge it for what it was, and acknowledge that it has no place in your future. And so you're walking away from it. What you're walking towards is temperance. Now, this could be a Sagittarius, because this is the card of Sagittarius, and if you've got one in your environment, you're probably already aware of them. This is not coming towards you, this is already here. If it's not a person, then this is an energy, and it's an absolutely beautiful energy to follow on from the Eight of Cups, because temperance talks about healing, it talks about balance, and more specifically, for this particular depiction of temperance, it talks about emotional healing and emotional balance. It's card number 14, which reduces down to a 5. And that's challenging circumstances, that's energy shifts, that's uncomfortable change. That's what the 5s indicate. So the fact that this breaks down to a 5 makes me feel like it's off the back of these things, right? And this woman, she's actually a fucking mermaid, so Pisces, hello. Look, she sat under what appears to be a lake. She sat at a well, but she's in a fucking lake, like there's water above her, right? But there's no sense of struggle. It's very peaceful. And her and the dog, which looks just like my dog, I love it. There's peace, there's tranquility, and that's what temperance talks about. Balance. Learning to fill your own cup. Acknowledging that there are things to be healed. And if they're not entirely healed yet, beginning the process of healing them. That is so helpful. It's healthy rather than helpful, actually. And I do feel like the retrograde energy and the Pisces season energy, which I just felt like I was drowning at one point. And maybe you did too. But there's a sense of submitting to it, and almost realizing that you can breathe under the water. It's not putting you out exactly. It was the fighting that was putting you out. When you submit to it, peace, tranquility reigns. The final card that you've got is the King of Swords. Now, that could be an Aquarian in your midst, but I don't feel like it is, because this is your energy right now. This is where you're sat. And it's Aquarian, so it's quite expansive energy. It's the pinnacle of the sword suit, and as we know, swords are words and thoughts and communications and stuff like this. So this is somebody who is really at the top of their game in being able to communicate how they feel about things. And it could be just that this emotional work that you've done, you're now taking on intellectually as a thing that you understand about yourself. That's possible. It could be that you've been able to communicate to others something quite important in you. Oh my God, my nose is itching so much. Oh, sorry, it's a tarot thing. I didn't even realise it was a tarot thing until I watched other tarot readers and they all had the same thing, and I'm like, why? Why is this? I don't know. Anyway. The thing that I'm looking at most here is these two birds that are soaring up here, right? There's liberation, right? That's what birds refer to. They can spread their wings and they can fly. There's a lightness of thought with the King of Swords. He's not weighed down with, there's kind of heavy energies of having to sniff out bullshit like the Queen is. It's not. And not dealing with the kind of lower echelons where, you're gathering information or spying, or somebody spying on you, or you have to deliver a message really, really fast and sometimes a little bit cuttingly. And the Queen of Swords can be a very cutting energy as well. The King of Swords, it's like all of that stuff's been filtered out by the time it gets to him. So it's just about doing the right thing. It's about thinking the right things. It's about saying the right things. And it feels like whether this is something that you're communicating to yourself or communicating to other people, you're really getting on top of it. And it's bringing a lightness to the way that you think that you haven't experienced probably in at least the last month anyway, I would say. It's all really positive, super positive. I love it. Oh, my nose, Jesus. So, with all that there, let's have a look and see what's coming towards Leo for the last 2 weeks of March. So, just this. What's coming towards Leo for the last 2 weeks of March, please? Cards dropping out, but I don't like them when they drop out. I like them to fly out, you know, with purpose. 3 cards for what's coming. There we go. Right. The Fool. Fucking Fool. Knew it. It's just a kind of fool kind of day. That's what it is. I'm positively giddy with the energy today. I can't even tell you what that's about. It's just good. I like it. It's coming towards Leo, please. 2 more cards. We've got Death. Fucking beautiful. Love that as well. It's my favourite card in the deck, by the way. I know 40,000 tarot readers surveyed by the Tarot Professionals Association. Apparently there was something like 97% of them all went to the Death card first when they were looking to buy a new deck, and it is their favourite card. So, yet another way in which, you know, apparently I'm running with the flock, but never mind. 1 more card for Leo, please. Oh, here it is. What's that? The Hierophant. 3 out of 3 major arcana at the bottom of the deck. We've got Justice, followed by the 6 of Swords. So, on a sign-by-sign basis, the Fool is Aries, Death is Scorpio, and the Hierophant is Taurus. If you're dealing with any of those signs, then, you know, all's good. But I feel like these are energies, right? I feel that quite strongly about you. And the first one, obviously, new start, uncharted territory. This is a leap of faith into the unknown with something, like feeling emboldened to take a risk on something. And it could be something as simple as a new way of doing things, a new way of seeing the world, I say it's simple, that's actually probably one of the most profound things that it's possible to experience. But perspective is a beautiful thing, and if you can change your perspective, you do see the world in a different way, and you do change the way that you deal with the world, and it does equate to a leap of faith. But it could be something else. It could be a new job. It could be, you know, moving, geographically, something like that. But there's a real sense of there's something coming up that could conceivably be a bit of a risk if you looked at it that way, but you just leaping off with trust that it's going to be okay. Now, Aries season starts like the 21st of March or something like that, you know, and we're back to the beginning. Like, Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. It's about the new. It's about new cycles. And here's an Aries card that literally talks about these things. So it might not be until, 21st, 22nd, something like that, that this energy really hits you strongly. But that's going to take us well into April. And although it feels like a risk, I feel like once you've jumped, you're going to realise that it wasn't a risk at all, actually. There's a sense of success assured. Like, that's what I'm hearing, success assured. It's going to feel like a risk, and you need to be brave to make that leap. But once you've done it, you'll realise that you didn't have anything to worry about in the first place. Then we've got Death, card of Scorpio. It's transformation. Something about this new start, something about this act of bravery, trusting and leaping off into the unknown is going to dramatically change your circumstances. And it could be that there's an ending, but for me, I love the Deviant Moon depiction of Death, because it's like the character Death is depicted as pregnant, right? So for me, particularly that card demonstrates beautifully my understanding of death, which is that inherent in an ending is a new beginning, right? The two are bound up together, because the death energy takes out all the shit that you don't need, just clears it all out of the way and makes space for the new things. And the bigger the clearing, the more stuff that gets cleared, the more space that you have to welcome in new stuff. Like, I'm getting a real sense of receptivity coming through very, very strongly. Your circumstance is going to change. But it's off the back of everything that you did during Pisces season and this little act of bravery, right? This risk, this leaping off onto the unknown. And then the final card you've got is the Hierophant. Now, there's lots of different ways of reading this card. Obviously, it's the card of Taurus, and it can talk about spiritual mentors, stuff like that. You know, at its flattest, it could be your boss, something like that. But this feels like the creation of a new structure in your life for you, right? One that you are creating for yourself. Because we've got these cards of you walking away and healing from things. And so inherent in that is a shift of understanding, you know, about what you've gone through and all that kind of thing. And the removal, with the Death card, of stuff that you've carried with you, right? And that sometimes has the effect of shaking your structure just a little bit. You know, it's like Jenga, maybe, something like that. There's a mini tower feel to this, but in the most positive way. It's like, it's not going to knock you sideways. It's not going to, you know, completely broadside you with this. It's coming in holistically, and it's allowing you to create a new structure with the stuff that you have left, right? The stuff that you have chosen to throw away is gone. The stuff that remains is what you are building your new sense of your life with. I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's very peaceful. And we've got a harp here on the Hierophant card, very unusual. And often it's called the Pope card, and it's got, you know, heavy Catholic overtones. Catholic. I went all Cthulhu then. It's got heavy Catholic overtones. This one doesn't. This dude looks more like a druid or a shaman. I always think shaman when I look at it. But he's got a harp, and harps are about harmony. They're about peace. This is you finding your inner peace and creating a new structure, a new peaceful structure that you exist within. And there's absolutely a sense of elevation from it. You know, you're going to be radiating peace from the inside out. And maybe you're going to inspire other people to do the same, you know, because you're in this elevated position. Take it as it resonates to you. The Justice card at the bottom of the deck is absolutely beautiful because karmic shifts, you know. There's a sense of some real good stuff coming in for you towards the end of March. And for me, obviously, because I'm a Leo too. And I love it. Let's get you some cards of advice. 3 cards of advice for Leo, please. Whoa, that's the first one. 2 more cards of advice for it. Taking you. 2 more cards of advice for Leo, please. Hey. 1 more card of advice. Wow. That's some cool shit. Given that there are no majors there, it's like the major stuff is what's coming towards you. And that for me, because this is all minor arcana that's come out here for the advice, for me, it's like, do you remember I said a receptivity, right? It feels like you've done the groundwork, you've cleared the space, you've cleared the way, and now it's time to allow the stuff to come in to you, right? You don't have to go looking for it. And, you know, as Leos, stuff comes to us. Sometimes we'll go off and chase it, but other times we allow it to come to us. And that's what you've done, right? You've cleared the fucking decks. You have improved your vibration, right? And you said, universe, like, I'm ready for some good shit. Throw it my way, please. So the cards of advice that you've got are the 4 of Pentacles, the 9 of Swords in reverse, and the 7 of Cups, right? The Four of Pentacles talks about holding on to things too tightly, and therefore, by extension, needing to release things. But for me, there's a heavy law of attraction component to this card, right? The underlying theme of this card and the feeling that comes off it is fear, because he's got these pentacles and he doesn't want to let them go, because if he lets them go, they might not come back to him in any meaningful way, right? But that is absolutely shooting himself in the foot, because energy needs to move, right? It doesn't like to stagnate. So you let things come in, you let things go out, right? It's a nice, loose, easy thing with this. And whether that's financial resources or anything else, any other kind of resource that you have, emotional time, care, and effort, all of those sorts of things. What you're being asked to do is allow the energy to move, right? Don't cling to anything, nothing. Right? Even if you've kind of accepted that a lot of things have had to go and you've let the death energy come in and stuff like that, there's still a possibility that you could shoot yourself in the foot. My God, my nose. Oh. By continuing to cling to anything, right? If it doesn't stay of its own volition, let it go. It's not for you. It's not part of your life anymore. And the Nine of Swords, but coming out in reverse, it's like, don't lose any sleep over it either, right? So somebody I once knew said, her grandmother used to say, what's for you won't go by you. That's what I'm feeling about this, right? You don't have to concern yourself with anything that's choosing not to stay in your existence, right? Because it's not for you. It's making its exit, let it go. Don't worry about it. And then we've got the Seven of Cups, and we're back to receptivity. There are lots of things that are going to open up to you in this period. And whereas in the usual depiction of the Seven of Cups, you've got a chap who's kind of silhouetted and he's kind of standing in this position with all of these gleaming, beautiful cups full of glamour really in front of him, and he cannot decide which one to choose. This character here, she's sat on the ground, fully illuminated, so she can see what's ahead of her. She can see what's in all of the cups. She is not in the dark in any way. But the thing that's really grabbing me on this is the butterflies. She's got butterflies in her hand and she's releasing them up, and they're fluttering in amongst the cups. Cups being a very receptive energy, right? And the King of Swords usually has butterflies all over his throne, There's a sense of this coming together. But it's very gentle, like she's not having to chase it. This stuff is coming to her. Lots and lots of options are about to open themselves up to you, right? Educate yourself on what, taking any of those cups will mean for you. But you don't have to go chasing it. See it for what it is and allow the new stuff to come in, because it's there, it's ready. It's fucking awesome. It's just confirmed how awesome the Leo energy is right now for me. I just got up this morning and I was just like, my kids didn't appreciate it because it's like Monday morning and they had to go to school and they were just like miserable. But, it'll be fine. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it there, Leos. I'll be back in about 10, 12 days, something like that, for the April... 10, 12 days? Yeah, about that. For the April readings. But in the meantime, don't cling. Let things go. And don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Everything will be chill. So, take care, and I'll see you next one.